Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. Today a bit earlier because of what's currently going on in the market. I mean, to be honest, out of all the top cryptos, I think Cardano is the best performer at the moment. It will probably take a while until we find here a crypto which is currently doing as well. The focus is getting on Cardano again, which is good. I've seen a lot of videos in the last few days of more and more creators talk again about Cardano. And this is really also what drives some of this. In addition, it's pretty much like in the top 100, you don't find a better performer at the moment. Oops, that was not intended here. You don't find a better performer at the moment, at least not in the last 24 hours. And to be fair, Cardano also did really well in the last couple of days. And, you know, it's incredible how many people now talk about Cardano. It's good, but it's just always interesting how the sentiment shifts, you know. Obviously here on this channel, we've been talking about Cardano all the time we've held throughout the bear market, and hopefully it allowed a lot of people to stay calm and to understand what's actually going on in the market. And we're now at 156, even just jumped again while we were talking here. And yeah, so it's really good to see that. So let's start with Bitcoin first, just briefly. Won't spend much time on Bitcoin today because it's still in the same pattern, not doing much at the moment. Here, Bitcoin currently climbing up on this ascending trend line. This expected move up overall here. Yes, it's going up and down, but you can see that there is at the moment a short-term uptrend in place. I would call that a correction. It's just a correction of a downtrend. So we've come down here into that wave 5, larger wave 3. We are now retracing into that wave 4 area. In my view, I'm actually quite confident that this could be really a wave 4, because the last wave 4 that we have seen up here was really slow as well, a little bit boring, a little bit draining. And I said a few times now, this could really become a bit of a longer story here, and it seems to be like that. What you see here on the shorter time frame is certainly that we've seen here yeah, you can call it a bit of a W bottom here on the 1 hour chart. You see it actually even a little bit better. So I thought this could be something like a cup and handle. To be honest, it's not the most beautiful one, and probably that handle is now getting a bit difficult here. But you see here, yeah, a little bit like a W bottom going on here, where you have here yeah, your W here, but more here. We've got one low there, and you get the other low here, but it's a higher low. We're still holding very close to that trend line. So now the price really needs to do here at some point, while going closer into that apex here, really needs to push higher, or it's going to get difficult. That's what Bitcoin needs to do. Bitcoin needs to move now, or it will just probably topple over here and possibly then start to sell off straight away. So we just need to observe at the moment. That is the key support level that's in place. Current support here at the moment at 42.5k. Current key resistance, you see it here, the last peak, at 43.7 pretty much. Now let's get to Cardano. Cardano currently really interesting. It has not yet won the fight around this 155 mark. As I said earlier today, and that's also why I do this video now, because we are at this 155 mark today, to tell you that we're probably going to get to 155, and there we are now. But the bulls and the bears are fighting now around this line. Now I made you aware that this would be the next key resistance line. I'm impressed it just did move through that fib level here at 145 without even noticing, which is a very good sign. I mean, that's strong. You know, when we did the last move up here, it did certainly react to that fib level and did react here again. It did react here to the fib level. Now it didn't really bother around that 145 level, which is good. We are moving higher here, of course, overall to 155, and now it's just below 155 again. And why is that level so important? Well, it's that descending trend line. You can see that here. And we would need to really go into detail here. So the fighting is still going on. Looks like currently that we've broken it. We're now retesting it. That's how it looks at the moment. But until we get a bit of a volume confirmation, you know, it's to be honest, the volume is quite high. The volume is quite high, and the price could then continue to shoot away from it. But at the moment, it's still open. You know, it's still open for for further fighting around the bulls and the bears. So nothing's confirmed yet, but it is that descending trend line that I showed you here before, which basically is having a bit of an impact here on the price. And again, there are different ways of drawing it. That is why I am a bit hesitant here at the moment to say, yeah, we've already broken it, because you can either use the 4-hour chart. I think I did actually use the 1-day chart, and on the 1 day I used the candles, not the wicks, and it's just a way of, different ways of doing it. The daily is, in my view, more relevant, especially on a longer time frame like that. That is why I would use the daily, and there you can see it's actually looking like it's quite relevant. You have the daily here, various touch points up here, touch point there, with a wick at the top, showing that there is certainly some resistance here at the moment. So we need to closely observe that 155 level. Overall, though, it's good to see that we are seeing here a potential double bottom, but unfortunately that second low was a bit lower, so we're not through here yet. It's not that I can tell you, right, we're now going up from here, this is the wave 3 that we talked about. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. It's still very, very early in a possible uptrend, very, very early in a possible uptrend, or very late in a possible towards the end of an uptrend, or very early in the beginning of a downtrend. This is always where most mistakes happen. There is the risk of a fake out is the highest. And to be fair, if I had to really talk about a confirmed breakout here for Cardano, yes, it would be a good sign to break above 145, but the whole chart is too, it's too broken, it's too damaged, I would say. We have, I gave you here this target area originally. That is when we came down here, and this was the area where I did expect the price to turn around eventually. I mean, we talked about this area in September. To be fair, I didn't have the 125 level on that back then. I wasn't bearish enough, but I did add it later because it is another key fib level. But I did expect the price to turn around here in the area then, and it's sort of doing it, but it did go below that trading area, below the target area, which is a sign of weakness. It did come very close to the $1 chart, and that consolidation has taken very long. And the 245 level, which is the peak of that wave X, I would really be very confident that we've seen the low then, or that this is starting to become a really real uptrend. Until then, to be honest, and I have to be honest with you, I think the risk that we come back lower again is quite high. But what Cardano is doing now is very important, because it's putting that buffer in stock. It puts that buffer in place between $1 and the current Cardano price, because I do expect still another sell-off for Bitcoin, and that's only what I expect, based on my Bitcoin analysis that you probably have seen in the last few videos. If not, go and check out some of the previous Bitcoin videos, where I would expect a sell-off below 29k. And again, I could be wrong with that, fully know that. That is why we started to, or at least I started to dollar cost average in below 40k, which so far has paid off for now. But I would still expect the price to go lower, but nothing is ever guaranteed in the market. We can only talk about probabilities. For me, the probability that Bitcoin will come down lower is quite high, and therefore I would expect also Cardano to come down lower again. But the thing is, if Cardano, that's what we've been talking about here for weeks, if Cardano can now outperform Bitcoin on this way up in that wave 4, that's exactly what we talked about in this channel, and that's exactly what Cardano is doing now, then it can put that buffer in place, and probably can hold above $1 in the next move down. And then when Bitcoin has completed its correction, I would expect that wave 3 to start. Until really Bitcoin has completed the correction, I wouldn't be too confident that the wave 3 to the upside starts. With the wave 3, I mean the next major wave to the upside that could take us to $455, maybe even higher for Cardano. Taking profits or not, that's entirely up to you. I can't really comment on that. For me, that bit of profit here from $1.08, where I had my buy order placed, to now is not enough. I'm not interested in these small profits, because it could just pump on. It could just pump on, but we need to be aware. But I still think a $1.08 Cardano would be a hilarious, fantastic price, especially now what's coming for the ecosystem. Let me just put that MACD on here again. And by the way, some people said this is only due to the Sunday swap, and that's true. But we talked on this channel about it and said we just need, the correction is finished, based on what the fib levels are telling us. So in that wave 2, Cardano did come down low enough, so theoretically it could now continue an uptrend, but it needs a catalyst. And there you go, they had your catalyst. So we are now getting close to the overbought level, but on the daily not yet. So it's good to see that the RSI on the daily is as high as it's not been since September. So it's higher than the previous peak here in November. The MACD is just going up. Good to see as well. And yeah, I mean, on the shorter time frames, you're now getting overbought here massively, which is probably also why you're now struggling a little bit with that trend line here, because you're getting overbought. Some people might already take profits here, this resistance, and that's why you can expect now a bit of a retracement. Would expect that retracement to go down to, you know, it could, possible retracement levels now are obviously the 145 level, that's the fib level, yeah, that we could go back down to, or even this ascending trend line that you've got here. So if we dropped now, we could even drop down to 135 again, you know, 133, 134. We just dropped hard from here, could hit that trend line, or here the fib level at 145. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. Again, at the moment, it's just too early to talk about a confirmed breakout, but it's very important that more focus is put again on Cardano, because it's pretty much the only one that's currently outperforming the market, and that is what we highlighted here as a possibility, because Cardano did it before. You know, it did it before, and what makes me really confident, to be honest, and that is why this could really be more than a fake out, is the ADA BTC chart. I did show it to you. We've been looking at it for weeks and months now, and we saw a potential bottom forming here. We talked about it all the way through, and especially lately here with that W pattern forming, and now this pump here, which is really big. That is really big. Overall, looking at the chart, it is quite significant, that ADA BTC move up here. This could be overall something similar that we've seen here. You know, compare the pumps. You know, compare them. Just looks interesting, doesn't it? And that's pretty much the update. I'll keep you updated. Maybe I'll do an additional update later today, in addition to my other ones, depending on what the price is doing, because I understand a lot of questions coming. So hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you want to have a lot of additional content, maybe consider to join as a channel member. You can do that either on YouTube here or on my website. And again, the link is in the video description. Hope you liked it. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.